types of interviews. Interviews differ in the extent to which the researcher controls the contents of the interview. We can distinguish 3 types of interviews. Structured interviews are interviews in which both the questions and the answers are defined in advance by the researcher. Think of a survey question, for instance, in which a respondent is asked for her favorite color and then presented with different answer categories to choose from. The structured interview has a number of advantages. It is not as time-consuming as other interview techniques, the results are easy to quantify and to analyze, and they generate highly reliable results, also when you need to interview a large number of respondents. The disadvantage of the structured interview is that the researcher already needs to know a lot about his respondents to come up with answer categories that represent the full range of possible answers. After all, the respondent does not have the freedom to answer whatever he or she wants. A structured interview is therefore most suitable when you simply need to count how many respondents fall into a particular category. The unstructured interview is the exact opposite of the structured interview. Here, the researcher does not come up with a pre-made list of questions and answer categories. An unstructured interview most closely resembles a conversation. The advantage is that the interview is free to move from whatever topics interviewer and respondent find relevant and interesting. The disadvantage is that the interviewer has little certainty that the interview will generate the information needed to answer his research question. There is also an issue of reliability, because interviews will differ greatly from one another when you interview multiple respondents. We therefore advise against using unstructured interviews in your research projects. The most commonly used interview technique in the qualitative social sciences is the semi-structured interview. The semi-structured interview takes the middle position between a structured and an unstructured interview. The researcher does come up with questions in advance, but the interviewee is given full freedom to respond to these questions as he or she pleases. The advantage is that semi-structured interviews provide detailed answers, thus resulting in a high internal validity. They are also relatively flexible, particularly when compared to structured interviews. The disadvantage is that they are less reliable than structured interviews. It is close to impossible repeating the exact same interview with a different respondent. In this module, we will further focus on the semi-structured interview. In the following videos, we will explain when semi-structured interviews are the most suitable research technique, how to formulate your interview questions, and what to do during and after an interview.